A landmark abortion rights amendment may be headed to Florida ballots in November, but first it's got to pass constitutional scrutiny. On Wednesday, the conservative-leaning Florida Supreme Court heard oral arguments over the ballot language. But notably, several justices pushed back against the Florida AG's case that the amendment's language is too broad. Take a quick listen to what Chief Justice Carlos Muniz had to say.
It just doesn't seem like this is really trying to be deceptive. The people of Florida aren't stupid. I mean, they can figure this out.
The court has until April 1st to rule on the language. If the amendment makes the ballot and surpasses the 60% supermajority that's required, it would strike down the state legislature's abortion bans and enshrine reproductive rights in Florida's Constitution. Joining me now is Lauren Brenzel, campaign director for Floridians Protecting Freedom. Lauren, I was pleasantly surprised from the oral arguments that we heard at the Florida Supreme Court, but I don't want to count chickens before they hatch. But do you share my optimism that maybe the amendment language was clear enough that it'll make that ballot in November?
We've always known that our language was clear, and I think what was wonderful was to see the justices, maybe they're not supporters of abortion access, but they showed a deep respect for the Constitution, and that's what we've always wanted to see from this case. So we are feeling excited about the justices' arguments around the constitutionality of this language and the hollow and political nature of the Attorney General's arguments.
And Lauren, it's not just people having an opinion, it's actual numbers that are supporting your push here. A November poll from UNF finds 62% of Florida voters support the proposed abortion rights amendment. That includes 53% of Republicans saying that they would vote yes. Why is it, Lauren, then, that there's such a prominent disconnect between what the Florida voters want and what somebody like the Florida AG wants to see happen?
I think there are so many politicians who are out of step with how real people think about abortion. They don't want to see politicians involved in their private medical decisions. They don't take their senator to the doctor's office with them. So this is really showing, yet again, we've seen wins all across the United States in states that are conservative, that unfortunately there are politicians who are out of step with what constituents believe.
And, you know, Lauren, I read something that was so fascinating while I was preparing for your interview today. There was a group of former Republican officials that were led by an ex-lieutenant governor, Jennifer Carroll. They filed a brief that supported your amendment, saying that the power of the people to decide for themselves what their fundamental law should be is so valued in Florida that courts should exercise extreme restraint before blocking citizen initiatives like yours from reaching Floridians. I mean, you also see that this crosses party affiliations. The concept of people having individual freedom and liberty to decide what they want to do with their bodies is something that is not just specific to a particular party.
No, and I think here in Florida, we are particularly committed to the idea that we don't want to see politicians. That cuts across party lines, not wanting to see our politicians interfere with our private lives. It's something that is relatable to Republicans, to non-party affiliated voters, and to Democrats. And the issue of abortion has become so politically overblown. It's become such a wedge issue, when really what the people of Florida are saying is this is just healthcare, and I don't want my politician dictating what my doctor can do.
So let's assume, Lauren, that in November it's on the ballot, the language is there, it passes with the 60% supermajority that is required. Do you have a concern, though, that you could see something happen in Florida like we're seeing happen in Ohio right now, where the voters speak, it passes, it achieves the supermajority that is required, but then the Ohio legislature, for example, tries to finagle a way to not honor what the voters wish?
Yeah, I think that we always are going to have to fight to make sure that we restore access to reproductive health care. We know, again, politicians want this level of control. It's really sad to see that they want that, but they don't want to be left out of these decisions. We will keep fighting to make sure they are left out, because there are 84,000 patients a year who access care in Florida. We are the third largest state in the nation, and women are going to be put in a serious public health crisis if abortion is further restricted here in Florida. We are waiting right now for the implementation of a 6-week abortion ban, and there is nowhere for patients to go in the Southeast if abortion is banned at 6 weeks in Florida. So we will fight for elections, and we will fight after elections to make sure that we are able to fully remove these politicians from these incredibly personal decisions.
And as I say goodbye to you, Lauren Brinzel, I am going to remind our viewers actually that you guys obtained more than 1 million signatures to be able to even get this constitutional amendment going. And so my hat off to you for that. April 1st, ladies and gentlemen, is the date that we're looking for where we should get a decision from the Florida Supreme Court. Lauren Brinzel, thanks for being here and for sharing all of this information. It's critically important.
Thank you so much.